forward. Share screen. Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to our lesson today on reflective pronouns. Now, you've probably heard this term before, but if you haven't, we're going to learn what reflexive, I said it wrong the first time, not reflective, but reflexive pronouns mirror the subject. Sounds kind of cryptic. What does it really mean? Big words, and I know it sounds kind of hard, but trust me, it isn't. And it'll actually be very fun. So let's just review some things that we already know that will help us understand today's lesson. Pronouns. You learned pronouns in the first grade, and we reviewed them back at the first of the year when you started second grade. We'll go over them again today. So the definition of pronouns is pronouns are words that replace nouns and noun phrases. So what does that mean? A noun is a person, place, or thing. So let's say if Miss Henry was the noun, we could also use the pronoun she or her. Okay, let's see what some pronouns are. He, me, she, I, you, our, it, them, we, and they. All right, there's more, but we'll get to those later. Today we're going to see them and use them in different ways. So let's get started. As you know, Miss Henry likes to start her lessons with a question, and today's question comes in the form of a riddle. Let's read it together. They are sometimes on the wall and sometimes on a shelf, and when you look at one, you always see yourself. What is it? Something that's on a wall, hangs on a wall, or sits on a shelf, and I can always see myself. It could be a picture, but it could also be, oh, I have an idea. Do you have the answer? Think about it for a couple more seconds, and we'll find out together. Are you ready? Here we go. Is it a mirror? All right, it is a mirror. How many of you guessed that? I bet a lot, because you guys are super smart. If you had the right answer, pat yourself on the back and say, good job, me. So, what in the world does a mirror have to do with a grammar lesson on reflective pronouns? We're going to find out during this lesson, so let's go. Let's start off with listening to the definition of what a reflexive pronoun is. Reflexive pronouns are pronouns that reflect back on the subject of the sentence or the phrase. So think about the word reflect. Now think about a mirror. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? You see yourself, or a reflection of yourself back at you. You're seeing it back at you. Reflective pronouns are just like that. They reflect back onto the noun in the sentence. So before we go any further, let's get out our ELA dictionaries and a pencil, and we're going to write down this new vocabulary word, reflexive pronouns, and we're going to write the definition. And if you want, just to kind of give you a clue, draw a picture of a hand mirror or a bathroom mirror to help you remember when you're going through your dictionary what it means. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get that done. So I have my little handy dandy timer, and I hope it's going to play. Had some trouble today trying to get this to work, but we'll see if it'll do it for us. But while I'm trying to get that done, you go ahead and you start working on writing that down. Okay. That's not doing what I want it to do, boys and girls. We're going to have to skip it because I think it's going to throw my video off. So go ahead and write down I'm still here, boys and girls. I'm trying to find my page. I got knocked off. Still working on it, guys. Here we go. Are you back? There we go. We're back. Go ahead and write those down. And while we're waiting, I will play some really fun music for us to listen to. Maybe, maybe not. All right, you've got about a minute left. And if you go ahead and finish early, you can kind of stretch, wiggle around, do something funny, just be thinking about pronouns and what in the world a reflexive pronoun is. How is it going to reflect? All right, time's up. Let's go on. All right, so let's go ahead and review some vocabulary that we already know, along with our vocabulary we just wrote down. The subject. The subject in a sentence is a noun that tells who or what the sentence is about. So a reflective pronoun, we know what this is. Read it out of your ELA book, guys, out of your dictionary. A reflective pronoun is a type of pronoun that refers back to the subject in the sentence. So a reflective pronoun is used when the subject and the object of the action of the sentence are the same person or thing. Okay? Now, that's a lot of words, and it may not make sense to you right now. But let's look at it in a sentence to understand the meaning of what we're talking about. All right, read it with me, boys and girls. The baby saw herself in the mirror. I made the noun in this sentence yellow, and the reflexive pronoun is red. The reflexive pronoun herself is talking about, hang on, the baby. Herself and baby. We use these reflexive pronouns because it's the same, we're talking about the same thing. So if we used the baby in place of herself, let's see how that would sound. The baby saw the baby in the mirror. Well, that could be true, but is it talking about the baby that's looking at the mirror, or is the baby seeing a different baby? Well, the way we can make sense of that is to use herself. The baby saw herself in the mirror. So we replaced it instead of using baby. Let's keep going. There are singular reflexive pronouns. And all that means is that the subject in the sentence is one. It's one person or one thing. Now, whenever you see the ending self on a word, S-E-L-F, that means it's a reflexive pronoun because singular reflexive pronouns always end with self. Like herself, himself, myself. Let me move me so I'm out of the way. There we go. And itself. Let's see what that looks like in a sentence, okay? Let's read the sentence and then we'll complete the blank together. I see blank self. What could we use to replace I with? Oh, I've got it. Myself. Now, if you got myself, if you guessed it, or if you knew it, kiss your brain. So smart. Way to go. Now, if you're still not sure and you didn't get it right, don't feel bad. It's okay. We're learning. Okay? We're going to practice some more. And I know by the end of this lesson, you are going to have it because you guys are so smart. Good listeners, good thinkers, good explorers. All right. Plural reflective pronouns. What does that mean? Plural means more than one. So the subject in your sentence is going to be, excuse me, boys and girls, more than one person or more than one thing. Now, remember we learned that singular reflective pronouns always ended with self. Well, plural reflective pronouns end with selves. Think back to some earlier grammar lessons this year. We learned that to make the word that ends with F plural, you have to drop the F and add a V before you add ES to make it plural. A few examples of a plural reflexive pronoun are themselves, ourselves, yourselves. Okay, see how those all ended with selves? They're talking about more than one person. Let's see what that looks like in a sentence. Let's read it together. The children made blank selves some sandwiches. The children, children is plural for child. So that means it's more than one child, plural. What can I use? What will fit in that hole? Oh, I've got it. I hope you have it too. Ready? Themselves. Did you get themselves? If you did, yell, yippee for me. Way to go, guys. You are so smart. Let's practice some more. Let's do a little brainstorming. So how do you know which reflective pronoun to use? It's kind of like looking at the word and figuring out if it's a girl word or a boy word, or if it's a word that is about yourself or I, or it's about me. So what would we use for I or me? Look straight across from the top one and it says a subject pronoun of I will use the reflective pronoun myself. What about you? What's at the end of it? Yourself. We had to add that R. What about he? Could we say she, herself? No, because it's a boy, so we have to say himself. She is, you got it, herself. It, itself. We is plural, so we're going to end it with selves. But do we say we selves? No, we say our. We changes to our, and we say ourselves. What about they? Could we say they selves? No, it's themselves. And then you, didn't we already do that? We did, but guess what? You can also be plural or your. So you would say yourselves. The children love treats. Treat yourselves. The children will treat they may treat themselves. They may treat. So wrong, Miss Henry. So wrong. I'll try to think of another example. Let's go on and review a quick review. What have we learned so far? Reflexive pronouns refer back to the subject of a sentence. For example, I saw myself in the mirror. Myself is talking about I. Okay? Thumbs up if you got it. Number 2, reflexive pronouns are used when the subject and the object of the action are the same. So let's read number 2. The boy will clean up the mess himself. So who's going to clean up the mess? The boy. He did it by himself. All right, number 3. Reflexive pronouns are used to show emphasis on the subject. The ladies made themselves a reservation at a restaurant. That sounds like a yummy thing to do. Ladies was plural, so we use the plural form of themselves. All right, let's do some detective work, boys and girls. We have on this page some words. Some of them are reflexive pronouns, and some of them are not. Now let's remember, we've got clues we can look for. It's going to end in self or selves, okay? So let's take a minute to think about it. Look at the words. Let's read them together. Myself, themselves, she, herself, second row, seashell, our, himself, bookshelf, Third row, itself, mine, ourselves, yourself. So let's find out which ones we are going to underline. Here we go. Myself. Is myself a reflexive pronoun? Yes, indeedy, it is. Give yourself a clap if you got it right. What about themselves? Yes, it is. She. She is a pronoun, but it's not a reflexive pronoun. It doesn't have self or selves at the end. Herself. Yes. Thumbs up if you're right. Let's go down to line 2. Seashell. Boys and girls, I hope you weren't tricked by that. Seashell is not a reflexive pronoun. In fact, there's no pronoun in that word at all, or an ending of self or selves. What about our? Nope, it's not one either. It's a pronoun, but not a reflexive pronoun. Himself. Yes. Bookshelf. No, hope you weren't fooled, boys and girls. Shelf sounds a lot like self, but it's not. Let's go down to the third row. Itself. Yes. Did you get that one? I know you did. You are so smart. Mine. No. Ourselves. Yes. Did you get it? Super. Yourselves. Yes. Boys and girls, if you got some of them right, give yourself a clap. Way to go. If you got all of them right, give yourself a round of applause. Way to go. Way to go, you. All right. So, I had a little video for you to watch, and probably when you are doing your Zoom with it, your Zoom meeting with this, you will be able to turn it on. I have not been successful at getting it turned on, so we're going to go ahead and just skip our video, and maybe I'll come back and try to play it for you at the end. But right now, we are going. We're going to really hope this will let us turn the slide. There we go. Back. All right. Practice time. Practice time. We are going to practice with some sentences, okay? So, sentence 1. Can he carry heavy bags by blank? What could we put in there? What reflexive pronoun would work in that? What's the subject? The subject is he. So we know what to use, right? Himself. If you got that right, pat yourself on the back. Way to think. Second question. She took pictures of blank smiling. She took pictures of blank smiling. Let's see. She is a pronoun. It's also the subject of the sentence. So we know that in the blank, to make it sound right and make sense, we're going to have to use, you guessed it, herself. Woo! All right. Third question. They will cool blank in the lake. They. What's the word we use for they? It has to be plural. It's going to end with selves. Oh, I know. Themselves. If you got that right, say, woohoo! All right, last one. I read quietly to blank after dinner. I is the subject of the sentence, and I know. Do you remember what we use for I? What reflexive pronoun we use? You're right, myself. Superb. You guys are super sleuths. Great detectives at figuring out the clues and finding the solution to the problem. All right, so our question of the day was, how are mirrors and reflexive pronouns alike? They both reflect. That's right. A mirror reflects ourselves. A reflexive pronoun reflects back to the subject of the sentence. Let's wrap it up, guys. Reflexive pronouns reflect the subject. They're used when the subject and the object are the same. They're used to emphasize the subject, and they end in self or selves. Let's look at the mirror there and see and read together some reflexive pronouns. At the top, myself. Next to it is herself. Underneath it is itself, himself, yourself, themselves, ourselves, yourselves. All right, so I think you got it, guys. I think we've practiced enough for you to be able to give it a go at the assignment that's for this lesson. You can find that assignment in your Google Classroom. And I just want to say thank you so much, boys and girls, for being good students today and great listeners and doing all your work. And I want to also say that I miss you and I wish we could be together, but we will soon. Hopefully, I'll see you soon in a couple of weeks. Bye, guys.